The more things change, it seems the more they stay the same. And that's not how it's supposed to work. I remember Einstein saying, when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, anticipating different results, that's the pure definition of insanity. Are we going insane, Trojan fans?
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every single day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download this podcast, this show's always free. The show always appreciates your support. And we got Marvin Powell III, MVP 3. He's back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, if you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. All right, USC's defense in 2025 was supposed to pick up where they left off last year, Marvin. The 2024 season, when Coach Riley took Dan Lynn away from UCLA, USC fans saw a glimmer of hope on the defense side of the ball. They weren't great, but they were so much better than they were the year before and the year before that. And year two of the Dan Lynn defensive coordinator era was going to show how much better they were going to be, including discipline. When Coach Lynn took over, he's like, hey, I got more talent here at USC than I ever had at UCLA. He was there for 1 year, but nevertheless. So what's going on, Coach? Why can't USC's defense stop a nosebleed right now? Let me just break it down for you real fast. This is what Illinois' offense did to USC yesterday. 502 yards of offense, 25 first downs, almost 5 yards per carry running the ball, 75% completion rate throwing the ball, 12 yards per pass attempt. And USC was only able to get 1 sack. And that came on a cornerback blitz. I mean, there was nothing going on defensively yesterday. I was there. You were watching on TV. Tell everybody what's going on.
Listen, obviously, these first 4 games, we were fortunate. USC showed up for the most part, and everything that we heard about in the offseason, we saw that. We saw all those things in the offseason that we heard about show up, between Jaden looking good, Makai, Jacoby, run game, our running backs looking good, and defense showed up first 4 games. And I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if this is a situation where maybe our team was drinking the Kool-Aid. Maybe our team saw the score of the previous game and thought we were going to walk in there and just blow them out. And I'll be honest, I was one of those people drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid. I absolutely was one of the people who was really excited about what we saw. And the reality is this: what you realize is, even when Vegas has a spread, even when a team has a record or is coming off a tough loss, you still have to play the game. Right. You still have to show up, And what's so disappointing for me is that, we do have a better roster than Illinois. That's not a question. We have a better roster. If you look at 5 years from now, the players from our team who go to the NFL versus theirs, you'll see we had a better roster. But sure. What happened? What happened is Illinois showed up. They showed up. Our defensive front, which was so amazing the first 4 games, was non-existent. They couldn't get off blocks. I saw no athleticism. I saw no explosion. And we stayed in that 4-man rush, I felt like, for a lot of the game, and we got nothing out of it. Absolutely nothing out of it. And our entire defense is based on getting that rush, because the reality is this. What we know is if we start bringing in the safeties and the corners, which we have and we did, now we're leaving our secondary even more exposed, because if they pick that blitz up, what happens now? Now we're losing on these one-on-one routes. And all I saw was us losing on one-on-one routes. Listen, game 5 didn't go the way it should have. This is not what I envisioned at all. At the end of the day, we just were not ready to play. And the biggest issue of the entire game is we couldn't stop the run. We couldn't stop the run. In the first 4 games, each of the teams that we played against, we handled. But we saw these teams throughout these games have portions of the game where they were able to run effectively. And it may have just been a series or two. And at that time, we were kind of wondering, do we have a problem with our run defense? But it's hard to tell when you're playing lower competition. The score is so crazy. Yesterday, we played a good team. We played a good team who got their stuff together. They showed up, and we didn't. At this point, I don't know if that's really who we are or if that's just what we put out there yesterday. I don't know that yet. I'm not jumping ship. I don't think our season is trash. I don't think that whatsoever. But I think we had a hiccup. And the issue is, in the other games, we had similar hiccups in the run game on defense, but it didn't cost us the game. And at no point did we lose control of those games. And this game, from the beginning of the game, we were down 14-0. And you would think that our high-powered offense could come back, which it did. But ultimately, what failed us was our defense. How and why we have a big money coaching staff. Our NIL on defense is what it should be. Right. But we're not. But in a game where it should have showed up, in a game where we needed our all-star coaching staff and our big time transfer portal guys to show up, they didn't. We didn't see any evidence of anything done differently in this game on defense. With that said, Mark, it's one game. It was a bad game, and our coaches have nothing but opportunity right now. Right now, our coaching staff has nothing. Just all they should see is opportunity to get better and to prove themselves. And I mean that. I'm talking to the coaches because, listen, Lincoln and the staff told us that we had the players. We were told in the offseason, going into the season, that we had the players, that we got guys in, that we won these recruiting battles in the transfer portal. We got big men. We got some defensive backs from other schools who are good players. But you see no evidence of any of that in the game yesterday.
So here's two things that really stuck out. Obviously, really stuck out to me. They're glaring issues. The lack of discipline on this team, and it's not just one side of the ball. It's also on the offense. So we'll talk about that in the next segment, getting into Lincoln Riley's state of mind. But it's the penalties on defense that are happening week after week. And Coach Bielema had some quotes after the game that really, really caught my attention. He was saying the USC players were talking before the game, during the game, and that kind of had his dudes like, why are they talking this type of stuff? I mean, look, when you're at home and you're covering the kickoff on the touchbacks, you can go running into your own end zone and you can start, waving your arms and getting your own crowd whooped up. But why are you doing it to their crowd? Why are you trying to draw attention to yourself when you haven't stopped them all game? You can't stop the run game. And I understand Kamari Ramsey was out with, food poisoning and he wasn't available. But the pass defense just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. Right now they have a reputation. If they're not going to cover, they're not going to be able to do anything. And then when they do, at the end of the game, you see that pass interference call, which I don't know, maybe it was a good call, maybe it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Matter is, the team has a reputation right now that if we think you're committing a penalty, we're going to call the penalty on you. And that's what they're dealing with. I mean, Keyshawn Silver, USC had an unsportsmanlike conduct flag thrown on Illinois near the end of the game. What did Keyshawn Silver do? He lost his discipline. He ripped the guy's helmet off who's on the ground, and now there's a second flag thrown, and those flags basically eliminate each other. It's these types of things that are coming up. Why isn't Coach Riley's message resonating? We're into, like I said, year number 4, 5 games. We're almost halfway through the season. Yeah, it's only one game, but it's a sign. And teams take on the personality of their head coach.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And Lincoln's addressed it, and I've said it as well. When you're trying to play an aggressive style of football, then a lot of times penalties come with that. And I get that, but we're getting them all over the field, as you said. Offense, and it's just offense, defense, special teams getting penalties, and it's adding up and it's hurting us. And it is absolutely a lack of discipline. Complete lack of discipline. You can attribute some of it because some of them have happened to some of our younger players, which it is what it is. But still, when you're on the field, whether you're a freshman or a senior, you're a starter. When you're on that field, you're a starter. So with that comes expectations and responsibility, and you have to play with a certain level of emotional intelligence,
Right.
through the play, And when the play is over, the play's over. You want to be tough during the play. And I always say that, but it's true. The penalties ultimately added up to what cost us that game, without question. And I don't know. You don't want to tell the guys to pull up. You don't want to tell the guys to get soft. You want them to keep their edge. But but when you're getting penalties that are costing you games, we have to look at that. We have to look at that differently. And honestly, I was expecting more from Lincoln and the staff going into this game. I heard everything about the time and the weather, the time and the early kickoff. I don't buy into all that. I really don't buy into all that. At the end of the day, you have a game to play. You know what it is. When I was in college in the pros, we went East Coast, West Coast. I never thought to myself, man, it's late. Man, it's early. Man, you don't have time to think about that. You have a job to do. So discipline. This thing with Lincoln has come in phases. The coaching staff, just trying to get the defense right. But in year 4 of you preaching your message, of you establishing your culture, of you being who you are, we expect to see a more disciplined team, Coach. We do, and we're not seeing that, and that's problematic. And you hope they spend these next 2 weeks working on that as well.
Yeah, and we'll close the segment with it. Well, I'll close the segment with this comment. I actually asked Coach Riley after the game. It was my question: how are you addressing this? Because every week we're talking about the same thing. He says, well, I'm taking away reps. I'm taking guys off the field when they're committing these penalties. You're trying to affect their how much they get to play. It's still not working. And at a certain point, you can't cut off your nose to spite your face and say, well, I'm going to bench this guy for this game just to try and really send the message, because now you're hurting the team. So maybe we'll talk about it in the third segment. Just plant the seed in the back of your mind, because you're going to be the head coach during the bye week. So you're going to help Coach Riley make those changes. But again, and I know there's not, like you said, there's not any magical formula to this. There's nothing you can't do anything other than continuously stress the message, and eventually just you stop playing them if they're going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah. And at a certain point, it's absolutely on the player. Listen, you're a Division I athlete. You've been playing football for 10 years. You know right from wrong. You understand the moments where you have to be better and be smarter.
Right.
So a lot of that may come with youth. To be honest with you, it may come with the immaturity that comes with youth, because some of those penalties were on some of our younger players. But it has to be addressed, and we'll get into that absolutely in the coaching segment later on.
All right, so next segment, we're going to talk about how two things can be right at the same time. And did USC handle that final offensive drive the right way? That's coming up next. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus the B vitamins and nutrients, and best of all, with zero sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot, and you can take it anywhere and get the boost when you need it. Honestly, I love how fast it kicks in. It's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing out later. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in-store or online at www.5hourenergy.com, or check out Amazon today for your 5-hour energy shot. All right, Marvin, I've been debating this situation with the fans over on WeAreSC.com all night, all day. I think everyone will agree. Defense was not at the forefront of the game Saturday for either team. Illinois' defense wasn't able to stop USC's offense all game long. And I think the best chance that USC had to win that game was keeping the ball away from Illinois' offense, because, again, USC's defense was actually worse that day. They couldn't stop the run. They were having trouble with the passing. Look, you have the ball at the 16-yard line. There's 2 minutes to play. Both teams have all their timeouts. Let's just focus on Illinois. They've got all 3 timeouts. Do you take the kill shot and score right away, which, that's one side of the argument, or do you get cute, as Coach Riley said after the game when I asked him about this? My whole thought process is, hey, you know what? Let's take some time off the clock. You haven't been able to stop Illinois' defense. All they need is a field goal to beat you if and when you score a touchdown. If Lincoln Riley's first inclination is, let's throw the ball, does it have to go to the end zone? Because 2 things are going to happen, maybe 3. You're going to score the touchdown. It's going to be incomplete. Clock stops. Worst case scenario, interception. If you need to pass the ball, what's wrong with a little 5-yard pass out in the flat, make it with a screen pass to the tight end? Or run the ball. Make them use those timeouts. How would you have handled the situation? I see both arguments. I lean to the side of milk the clock. Your defense hasn't done anything all game. Don't expect them to give you a stop with 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, so when you think about the rhythm of the game and the things that happened earlier in the game, this is a game where there were 2 red zone turnovers, not committed by us, but there were 2 red zone turnovers. It's a game where our defense is getting trashed, getting ran through. So yeah, the idea of let's run the ball, kill the clock, and let's score with no time on the clock. I hear you on that, and that sounds great, and that's something that I'm sure ran through his mind. At the same time, I think Lincoln wanted those points. I think he wanted those points, and I understand that. And I think his mentality was, we're gonna go ahead and try to score, and we're gonna ask our defense for to show up one time in this game, just show up for one series in that game. I really don't have a problem with him being aggressive. I don't have a problem with him going to get those points. I don't have a problem with him, allowing our defense to work in under 2 minutes and asking them to do their job. So, it's tough because we lost, and obviously, if we would have won, we'd say it was a great call and he was aggressive and he's such a good play caller. But because we lost, we analyze it. I don't have a problem with that. And to be honest, I don't. Just because, again, we had going into this season, the biggest thing we talked about was our big name coaches on defense. We got Henny, we got DeAnton, we got Ryan, right? We got Newell. That's all you heard about. We've got these big players. Man, look, at the end of the day, Lincoln went for it. He got the points. Our offense came back. Our prolific offense, which is what we've been hearing about all year and seeing, is what it is because it showed up when we needed it to. But at the end of the day, the defense and just the penalties let us down. I don't have a problem with him being aggressive. I don't have him. Listen, I don't have a problem with him going for a 4th down. I'm a 4th down guy. I like that. So that's who he is. That's what he does.
And USC was great on 4th down yesterday. They were great on 3rd down. And again, which says, half in one hand, half in the other. Which direction do you go? Because look, they hadn't stopped USC's offense all game, except you had the Waymon Jordan fumble on their first drive, which was devastating. You have that undisciplined play by the offensive lineman on that fantastic trick play that was executed perfectly, except for that took another 7 points off the board. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more. Again, I saw what I saw in the defense.
No, listen,
I did not want to put it on them.
Yeah. Listen, football. Listen, the traditional football mentality is you run the ball, you kill the clock. And you have the walk-off touchdown by Waymon Jordan and the game is over. That's really, I think that's what a lot of USC fans were thinking. I'm sure Lincoln was thinking that, but he saw an opportunity to score, and he did. And, he bet on our defense, and he bet wrong. Again, I know this thing we're talking about the decision. I don't think – I like the fact that he was aggressive. I like that. I like that. I want to continue that. That's his mentality. We have to do better next time is what it comes down to. And I don't listen again. It was bad. I know it was a bad game, but don't allow this. Let's not overthink this and go so far off the scale with this thing, man. We have a good offense and we have to work out some things on defense.
On the defense side, and this will be the last question of the segment.
Yeah.
So your defensive staff is really heavy oriented with guys who understand the secondary. Danton Lynn is he's a secondary guy at heart.
Belk.
Belk, same thing. You
Trayvon.
brought in a dedicated cornerbacks coach in Trovon Reed. What's going on?
That's a great question. That's the $1 million question. I can tell
Supposed to be there.
Well, I'll tell you this: when you have a bad secondary and you can't get any pass rush, then your secondary is going to look even worse. That's this. You can hide a bad secondary if you have an elite pass rush, and that's what we've seen the first 4 games. Listen, again, our best defensive back was out of the game. That makes it different. That makes it tremendous. Our smartest defensive back was out of the game, arguably. I mean, no offense. I think Bishop Fitzgerald is great.
I'm sure he's worth. Kamari Ramsey's worth a defensive stop at least once. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a green dot. He's a green dot guy, which means that's who we're talking to. So, Mark, listen, it was bad. We have to get it better. There are ways to do it. We'll talk about in the next segment. I have to. Coach MVP has some ideas as to how to do that. Okay. So we can go from there.
I'll take this thought into the next segment.
Yeah.
Can an offensive-minded head coach, and that's what Lincoln Riley is, does that type of mindset have an effect on the defense? We talk about playing complementary football all the time. Is Coach Riley's aggressive style on offense complementary to the type of defense he's trying to put together? We'll talk about that in the next segment because there's a bye week coming on, a lot to work on. So, should probably go here. One of the tools that helps make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app or on your phone or on the computer, so no more carrying around 2 phones or relying on a landline. Whether you're a solo operator juggling everything or part of a larger team, Quo makes it easy to stay responsive and professional. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, if you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets that you can use across the entire FanDuel app. You're going to love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. You're into the parlays, you like doing the player prop bets. Maybe you just want to jump into the action live as it's unfolding. You can do that with FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now, visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Okay, Coach Powell, let's you're in charge. Let's get into this. Yeah. How are you getting your team's attention during the bye week? Because you've got Michigan and Notre Dame as your next 2 games. Illinois was supposed to be the first game that was circled. USC's offense showed up, got a little bit of a slow start, but they showed up. The defense never got off the plane, never got off the bus. What are you telling your team this week as you try and get them to forget about what happened and look forward? What's Coach Powell's message to the team?
So obviously, we want to continue on with what we're doing on offense, but let's be honest, offense isn't the issue, so we're not going to even talk about that right now. Our emphasis is defense. Okay. I'm spending these 2 weeks getting ready for Michigan and their young, dynamic, stud quarterback. What my focus is, if I'm Coach Riley, I'm telling Danton and his staff that we need to play as much as we can to an 8-man front, confuse the quarterback. We need to do a better job of bringing pressure off the edge with our nickel and our corner. We need a better plan for pass rush if we have the same issue in the next game that we had in the last game, where our 4 guys who we're depending on can't impact the quarterback. We have to have an alternate plan or a plan within that. I think for us, it's about confusing the freshman quarterback with blitz packages. I think we need to focus on run blitzes because Michigan's going to run that ball. They have 2 running backs, 3 if you want to include the quarterback. They're coming out running the ball. Don't worry about anything else with them playing 3 yards in a cloud of dust because that's what they're going to do. So run blitz, incorporate more of an 8-man box, confuse the quarterback, and just really try to mess him up as best you can with his reads and disguise and coverage. He'll make mistakes. He's going to make freshman mistakes, but our focus and our practice is going to be Michigan and what it's going to take to beat them. Listen, one of the things that I saw in the game that I didn't like, I know our big men are athletic. We know that by the thick six. We got athletic big guys. But I saw our big guys getting stood up. I saw our big guys playing too high. I saw our big guys losing one-on-one blocks and getting blown off the ball in double teams. So, the traditional practice where we're in there working on the double teams and all that stuff, we're going to overemphasize that. Michigan's coming in physical. We started the Big Ten schedule 3 weeks ago with Purdue, but the reality is Michigan is coming to the Coliseum to play physical football. And we have to be ready for that. And I think that really starts with addressing our defensive front, and just confusing and disrupting the freshman quarterback. That's what we're talking about this week. Listen, we want Jaden to keep doing what he's doing. That kid's playing lights out. He had a couple throws that we would want to take back, to be honest with you. Just maybe two throws were kind of lofty. But again, we're not worried about the offense. The offense hasn't been stopped all year, I feel like, to be honest with you. I mean, we had a fourth down stop last game, but as a whole, when we watch the USC football games, no team has really stopped the offense. I know it's tough to say that coming off of a loss, but even when you watch that game, we scored when we wanted to score, and when we ran the ball effectively, when we wanted to. So all I'm thinking about is an 8-man front and pressure on a freshman quarterback, confusing the mark. We have to get in this kid's head. We have to establish some type of tenacity and toughness at the line of scrimmage on defense. Our big men, those 2 guys in the middle, can't get pushed around like that. They can't get pushed around and beat down and blown off the ball. They have to show up on passing downs as well. I didn't see the athleticism from our big men in this game that I saw in the previous 4, and that's concerning to me. I didn't like that, because the reality is this: as you said, we got Michigan, we got Notre Dame, we still have Iowa, or we have some tough opponents coming up who will be tough in the interior. Even if they're not good in the exterior, they'll be good in the middle. We have to be better in the middle. We were soft. We've been soft in the middle. We saw a little bit of it in the first 4 games. We saw a lot of it in the last game.
So obviously, one thing, the team has to get healthier. I mean, they are a little bit banged up, all across the field, whether it's defensive line, linebacker, definitely in the secondary. You're starting to see it now on the offensive line with Elijah Page, Killian O'Connor. He's having his MRI. Hopefully that knee isn't as bad as it looked on the field.
Yeah.
During the bye week, how do you increase the discipline? Do you try and get that message across? Think back to your days when you were playing at USC. How did the coaches say, hey, you know what? We're done with this. I don't want to see this anymore. We're going to spend a day making sure you understand it.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah. Listen, 2 weeks is a long time, especially coming off of a loss. It's a bad feeling in your mouth. You have a big opponent coming up, which you probably won't be the favorite going into that game.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be the favorite. I think we're going to win. I don't think we'll be the favorite though. But yeah, no, it's hardcore discipline. These players have to learn consequences. When I was at USC, for 3 years we had John Robinson. My first 3 years, he was great. We won the Rose Bowl, won the Pac-10, beat Notre Dame. Coach Robinson was great. Definitely more of a player's coach. Paul Hackett, when Paul Hackett came in there my senior year, granted we weren't an amazing team, but he brought in discipline. And like Coach Riley was saying, you pull reps, you take the player off the field. That hurts the player. The player feels that. They feel that in every way, But in practice, man, it's everything from touching to line to finishing the drill to listening for the whistle. It's over coaching that kind of stuff over these next 2 weeks. And it's really putting an emphasis on the mental game, on the cerebral game, because that's an important part of the game.
Are you a fan of, of publicly, and I don't want, maybe shaming is the wrong word to use, but, mentioning players by name publicly? Because are you a fan of that, or is it more, just
I am. Listen, so for college and pro, sure, especially in the NIL era. I'll be honest with you. Okay,
good. We're on the same page. Okay.
In the NIL era, of course, absolutely. Listen, I believe I'm an old school guy now. I believe in the old school approach, the old school method. I believe in direct conversations. I believe in tough conversations between two men. So calling somebody out, I'm by any means necessary. It's not a matter of calling a player out just to get under their skin or just to piss them off.
Right.
You want results. So if the results say that if you should put your arm around the player, do it. If you should cuss them out, do it. If you should get on the mic, get on Locked On SC and call these players out, you do it. We're not there yet. There are a few guys I can talk about, but we're not there yet. But I'm a fan of it. I believe in accountability. I believe in leadership, in real leadership. I believe in accountability. And the only way you have a chance to be successful in team sports is accountability.
Absolutely. Look, I think I'm thinking along the same lines as you. I'm the type of, and I used to coach high school basketball. I would be the type of coach that I'm going to make sure you understand that I'm not happy with you. Yeah. But by the end of practice, my arm will be around your shoulder. You're going to understand why I'm acting like this and why I expect more from you, because I know what you're capable of doing. And when you're not giving me that effort, I need to let you know. And sometimes I might need to let everybody know that, hey, you need to get on your guy.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a team captain, code red. Make sure that guy or that position group is towing the line type of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the mentality, for any great leader or for any great coach. It's about being strategic. The leader should have the highest level of emotional intelligence. So regardless of how you feel about the player or the player messing up, you should take a strategic approach to coaching that player to be better. That's what coaches do. That's what great leadership looks like, and that's what coaches are able to do. Again, whether it's, putting an arm around a guy and giving him a pound in the back or cussing him out or calling him out, it's all about trying to get that end result, and it's all about the result. The coach it should never be personal or that level of ignorance from a coach. It's all just to get the player to perform at a higher level. That's it.
Absolutely. And we'll end it on this. All so far during the off season and through so far what we've gone through this season, what we've talked about, the team's camaraderie, how close they are, how tight knit, the locker room, how they all, pull for each other. It doesn't matter what side of the ball you're on. If that's the case, we need to see that manifest itself somehow on the field, where again, the offense can say, hey, you know what? We got you this game, defense. And that's why I go back to, Lincoln Riley's mindset. Is he just too offensive minded where he doesn't put enough emphasis on the defense? We know he's doing that because of, the coaching staff he's assembled.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to say, hey, you know what, defense, today's not your day.
Yeah.
The offense is going to win this game for you, and you guys just have to kind of deal with the mindset.
Yeah, guys, and listen, and again, we looked, it's fair to say, on offense and defense, we've looked dominant this season. And what I will say is this: what is good is we know we have athletes, we know we have players. We have to get them together and showing up, in the Coliseum, 12 o'clock in 2 weeks when the Wolverines show up. But we have players, when we're on defense, I'm not cringing and I'm not there yet. This coaching staff has nothing but opportunities next 2 weeks. These next 2 weeks are a phenomenal opportunity for this staff and these players, and I want to see what they do with it.
Absolutely. I want nothing more than to eat some crow and be proven wrong. Say, hey, you know what, Mark? You were a little bit too harsh on these guys. It was just one game. I'll be the first person to pick up that crow and start shoving it down my mouth. So.
Yeah.
But again, enough talk, more walk. It's that time of the year. We're going to game 6. Mm-hmm. So again, one game, but that one game was a sign of what could be happening, because the competition from here on out, it ain't Michigan State, it ain't Purdue, it ain't Georgia Southern, it ain't Missouri State.
Right.
They got to get it figured out.
Yeah.
Injuries are part of the game. Stuff happens. Guys have to step up. Most importantly, they have to show more discipline on both sides of the ball, because I think USC's beating themselves more than other teams are beating them.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that more later this week when Marvin's back on the show.
Can't wait.
I do. The fans love you, so trust me. We'll bring you back again real soon. Locked on USC, we'll be back again with another episode tomorrow. That's what we do around here 5 times a week. Also, don't forget, go check out that instant reaction show that I had. This one's a little bit less emotional, but that's why we call it instant reaction. So until that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.